The Battle of Verdun was one of the longest and most brutal battles of World War I, fought between the French and German armies from February 21st to December 18, 1916. Verdun-sur-Meuse was a strategically important town because of its location on the Meuse River and its extensive network of forts. Both sides recognized its significance, and the battle's intensity was exacerbated by the symbolism attached to Verdun. For the French, it represented their determination to defend their homeland, while the Germans hoped to bleed France white by forcing them into a protracted battle. The German Chief of the General Staff, Erich von Falkenhayn, devised the strategy for Verdun. He believed that a prolonged battle of attrition would weaken the French army to the point of collapse. The plan was to attack Verdun, lure the French into defending it at all costs, and then inflict heavy casualties. The German offensive began on February 21, 1916, with a massive artillery barrage. They quickly captured the outer forts and advanced towards the city. The French, under General Philippe Pétain, fought fiercely to hold the line. Verdun was heavily fortified, with a ring of forts around the city. The French relied on these forts for defense. Fort Douaumont and Fort Vaux became focal points of the battle, with both sides fighting bitterly for control. The Battle of Verdun epitomized trench warfare. Both sides dug intricate networks of trenches, fortified with barbed wire, machine guns, and artillery. Attacks were often limited to small gains due to the formidable defenses. Assaults often involved waves of soldiers trying to advance under a hail of bullets and artillery shells. Artillery was the dominant weapon in Verdun. The continuous shelling created a landscape of craters and made movement perilous. It was also responsible for a significant portion of casualties. Both sides used poison gas, adding another layer of horror to the battle. Gas masks became essential equipment for soldiers. Close combat often devolved into brutal bayonet charges. The fighting was often hand-to-hand, and the soldiers endured unimaginable stress and fear. Despite heavy losses and immense pressure, the French army refused to yield. Pétain famously declared, "Ils ne passeront pas, they shall not pass," symbolizing the French determination to hold Verdun. Maintaining supply lines to Verdun was a constant challenge. The Germans attempted to cut off these lines, but the French managed to keep them open, often at great cost. The battle saw a massive artillery duel, with both sides constantly bombarding each other. The devastation was enormous, and the landscape became a barren wasteland of shell craters. As the battle raged on, the French received reinforcements and improved their logistics. This allowed them to stabilize the situation and launch counterattacks. By late 1916, the French had retaken Fort Douaumont, and the German advance stalled. Realizing that Verdun could not be taken easily, Falkenhayn shifted his focus to the Somme offensive. The battle officially ended on December 18, 1916, with both sides exhausted and staggering losses. It was a battle of attrition that exacted an immense human toll on both sides. Estimates of casualties vary, but it's believed that hundreds of thousands were killed, wounded, or missing. Verdun became a symbol of French resilience and determination, and Philippe Pétain emerged as a national hero. The battle consumed vast resources and manpower, which could have been used elsewhere on the Western Front. It influenced the tactics and strategies of both the French and German armies for the remainder of World War I. Verdun's terrain turned into a quagmire due to constant shelling and rain. Soldiers waded through knee-deep mud, which made movement slow and exhausting. The trenches were infested with rats, which thrived on the corpses and waste. Soldiers faced not only the physical hardships of battle, but also the constant fear of disease. Soldiers had little opportunity for rest. The constant threat of attack and the noise of artillery made sleep rare and fitful. The unrelenting stress, fear, and constant exposure to death took a severe psychological toll on soldiers. Many suffered from shell shock, a term used at the time to describe what we now recognize as post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD). Soldiers on both sides lived in constant fear of death. To cope, they formed strong bonds with their comrades. The men relied on each other for emotional support and survival. Verdun produced numerous acts of heroism and sacrifice. Soldiers often displayed incredible bravery. In the face of overwhelming odds, these actions became a source of pride for their respective nations. The experiences of Verdun haunted those who survived. The physical and emotional scars influenced their lives long after the war ended. In conclusion, the Battle of Verdun was a brutal and grueling confrontation that left an indelible mark on those who fought in it. It showcased the horrors of trench warfare, the resilience of soldiers, and the devastating impact of modern industrialized warfare. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more videos.